Okay, so part three is the things we have to amend or the new forms for listings. So let's talk about the amendment. So the amendment is two parts. The first part is right now. So if you have an active listing that is not under contract, so again, active listing, not under contract, then you need to send this amendment to your seller client immediately. And so it's pretty simple. Basically, you put the listing date here. So it's going to be from your listing agreement that you have in place now. That's the listing date there. The address of that particular property. When this amendment goes into effect, it goes into effect August 17th, this Saturday. And then we get down into the compensation splitting. All right. And so we have the listing broker compensation. So we're saying here a broker will earn compensation or the listing broker compensation when a sale of the property has been completed. And so this is just the listing portion of it. All right, and we're stating here is that our half is going to be, 3%, 3.5%, whatever you've negotiated with your client. And then the other section is the $500 admin fee. So you want to specify those two things there. Unrepresented buyers are buyers that, let's say, would walk into an open house. They say, I don't have a buyer's agent. I don't want any representation, but I want to buy this house. I don't really see that buyer becoming represented all that long, because they're going to be like, well, okay, how do I submit an offer? How do I do this? How do I do that? So they're going to need some kind of representation. So Michigan allows dual agency. But this particular section here allows us to have that discussion with the sellers about expecting some kind of buyer agency incentive to pay for the buyer's portion of their commission. And so, whereas in the past we had that number at the top, which is like you're going to pay the listing agent or listing broker 7%, and then right below that we're going to split that 7% and offer 3.5% for any cooperating brokerages, buyer agency brokerages. And so that was how it used to be. So we're kind of just flipping this around. We're saying, okay, our share is the top part, and if we have to do both sides, it's going to be 7% or a total. So again, does everybody kind of understand that it's actually, we're kind of just flipping those numbers around from the old listing agreement. So we have a total representation, both buyer and seller, at 7%. So again, this gets them in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to pay 7%. All right, or I'm going to pay 6%. So if this is 3% here, then this would be 6% here. And if the seller agrees to that, then they've agreed to a 6% essentially, and a buyer incentive, buyer agency incentive of 3%. All right. So again, it's the same way that we've been doing it. We just have to separate it, in this particular language. And then we get down into part two of this amendment is this amendment can also be used for any listing changes, such as price reductions, price changes, terms of the agreement as far as extending the listing date. So if they want to extend it from like ending on June 30th, they want to extend it out to the end of August, and you could use this amendment form for that. Any other changes here, like personal property changes, let's say it was a lake house and they were going to leave a dock. Now we're not going to leave the dock, and so you'd have to put that in here and amend that agreement. Then we get the seller's information all in here, and then your information, which remains unchanged. Make sure you get that in your template, and then sign it and date it. All right, so that's the amendment. Again, initially, right now, used for active listings that are not under contract. All right, the next one and final document is the exclusive authorization and right to sell. And so this is our new listing agreement. So very similar to the current listing agreement that we have now. So we have the property address, we have legal description here, we have the length of the listing agreement here, the list price. Now we have that separation again, that listing brokerage compensation. So this is our share with the $500 admin fee, and then this would be a combined share. All right, and then down here under authorization to promote, we want to make sure all those are checked on because we want to be able to promote it everywhere. And so buyer is authorized to disclose the existence of offers. You want to be able to disclose that. It's kind of use that as leverage. Property showings and access, seller authorizes the installation of a lockbox. We have broker services. These are all those things that you would normally do for listing a property. Reasonable care, skill, and due diligence achieve the purposes of this agreement. Provide comparable market analysis, create and execute a marketing plan, organize and conduct showings, represent the seller in negotiations, handle all necessary paperwork, and provide regular updates. Simple stuff. The seller has commitments here. This is newer. Seller possesses and shall continue to possess full legal authority to sell the property. That's important. Provide all documentation reasonably requested by the broker. Provide timely disclosure of property conditions, such as if the basement floods, they got to let you know. Cooperate with the broker in the sale process. Act in good faith. Inform the broker of any past due mortgages. Inform the broker prior to leasing or mortgaging the property. And in a way that demonstrates the broker is not responsible for custody or condition of the property. Seller and seller's discretion shall consult with seller advisors for specific legal, financial, and tax and other professional service. And we get down into fixtures. These are the appliances that they're going to leave with the house or anything else. The lake house, they're going to leave a dock. Any excluded items. Then let's get down into additional terms and conditions. What we would put in our listing agreement, or we have put in the past and will continue to do, is that if you do all this work ahead of time, photos, photography, travel, time, entry, assistance, all that stuff, and then they decide 2 days after you've gone live that they want to take it off the market. We put a line in there that if the seller chooses to terminate this listing agreement before the expiration date, that they have to reimburse us for any marketing expenses that have incurred up to that point. So it's an important one there. We learned that the hard way. You do a couple agreements, they pull the plug. Next thing you know, you're out a couple $1,000. So we got to have all the sellers sign, and you have your information down at the bottom. So again, that's the new listing agreement. Pretty straightforward. Again, the big change here is this section here under listing brokerage and that separation. So we got our share, we got the buyer total share. So you kind of take the difference between the two and you have that split. All right. So all these forms are available to you through SkySlope Forms, or you can just let me know. I can drop them into your .loop. I can show you how to add them in your SkySlope, whichever system you use. You'll notice over here on the left-hand side, I've actually created folders for Michigan buyers, Michigan sellers, Florida buyers, Florida sellers. And so all these documents and their specific areas are all queued up and ready to go. For example, go to Michigan buyers. And let's go to, let's just go to the buyer broker representation agreement. You see here that I've got the ability to check boxes, fill this information in. All my information is at the bottom, so that when I bring this over into my loop, it's already pre-filled out. All I have to do is just fill in the information that I don't know. So it makes it much faster. And so that's in my individual folders, Michigan buyers, supplements, or like addendums, things that change. We have seller supplements; those are counteroffer forms, things like that. Then you have Florida buyers, Florida sellers. Those forms are all different, except for the ones we just talked about. So if you need help getting all those into your .loop, just let us know. We can definitely help you do that. And yeah, so it's ready, set, go. These are forms that we have to be using pretty much right now. So again, any questions, feel free to contact us anytime. I'm more than happy to help you out. Take care.